Welcome to the Steel Birds and Dawgs podcast. I'm Myles, this is Lee, and the man behind the cam, Jacob Bruh.
Let's get started. This is the very first episode. Like Myles said, he started this kind of like as almost like a concept. He's a Steelers fan. I'm a Ravens fan. Our man Jacob is a Browns fan. And when Myles halfway kind of through the season was getting kind of just tired and pissed and angry, and he had thoughts brewing about the Steelers, he was like, I need to start talking about it. And I kind of said as a joke to be like, you know what? Let me join in on that because my team that I love so much pisses me off too. And then a couple weeks went by, and then week 18 happened, and now we're here. We're starting it finally. Everything that's transpired, it's like a new leaf has turned into the division, and we got to say what we need to say. At the core of this podcast, we're going to be talking ball. We're going to get into it, but at the core of it, we're AFC North fans. We love football. We love our teams. We're passionate. We have a lot of things to say, but we're still going to talk ball across the league as well. We'll have some really good takes that'll be spot on. We'll have some terrible takes that'll be way off the grid of the map over here, and we'll fall a little bit in between. But we're going to be honest. We're going to be genuine about it, and we're going to do it with however much heart that we have in it. So we're going to get started. The way that these episodes kind of go is that we cover like Ravens, Steelers, Browns, the division news first. We covered that. It's kind of a slower, season talking point about that just because we don't really got much going on. The head coaches are the big part of that, and we'll go over those as it kind of progresses. But as, interviews are happening, things like that, we don't really have much to say. So this will really be more focusing on the other head coaching vacancies, our head coaching vacancies, the playoffs themselves. And as the offseason gets rolling and brewing, then we'll kind of pick it up from there. But are you ready to start, about our teams?
I can talk with the Steelers head coaching search. I mean, essentially it's coming down to Brian Flores or Chris Shula. And with the Bills firing Sean McDermott, which we will talk about later, that does put a wrinkle in things because I could see them going for Flores or Shula. I saw we're interviewing Mike McCarthy. I don't think that's a serious
Was that a first-round interview?
Yeah.
And it's completed?
I think it's scheduled. I don't think it happened just yet. But
okay.
If you're wondering, and if you're a betting man, it's Shula or Flores. There's really not much else to say about it. That's who it's going to be.
And who's your preference over the two?
Okay. I like Shula because I feel like his connection to the McVay tree affords us better coordinators. However, I don't think you can go wrong. Flip a coin. I think they're both they both are very, they're defensive wizards, and they're exactly what we need. So, either one.
All right. And then I'll move on to the Ravens interviews. We interviewed a lot. We officially completed 16, and we're already in. Yeah, we did all 16 since we were not even in the playoffs, but don't talk about that. We did all 16. We completed them. I like the array of guys that we went. We went a lot of offense. We went a lot of defense. We got a lot of personalities, a lot of perspectives, a lot of experience in the first rounds, and I was fine with a lot of them. We're starting second interview soon. I did see we were confirmed with Anthony Rieger as one of the first 5 guys that we're going to bring back.
Please hire.
I'm not the craziest guy, but it's not the end of the world if he's the head coach. We got a new opportunity in Baltimore, and I feel like wherever we head, it's opportunistic to say the least. Weaver is probably on the bottom of my list for sure. I want to bring guys like Minter back in the building. I want to bring guys like McDaniel and Clint Kubiak. Unfortunately, with the rule of them still being in the playoffs, you kind of have to wait the week, and I'm curious on if the wait is worth for the Ravens. I think it's going to be worth the wait, especially with a guy like Clint Kubiak that I feel like you have to bring back for a second interview. My prediction after this weekend, I'm full in on offense. I want an offensive-minded guy. McDaniel or Kubiak is my guy, but I wouldn't be mad with a Minter. But my real take is that I don't think the Ravens will hire a guy until after the Super Bowl has concluded. I think
good luck.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to jump the gun. I think they're going to wait their patience. I think they're going to do their due diligence. I think they're going to have Steve Bisciotti and Lamar come up, and I think they're going to really sit and wait until the guy that they are ready for is ready to walk into that building starting in March. So my prediction is probably Minter in about like end of February or mid-February, but I do want Clint or McDaniel. That's kind of where I lay my heart out for that. But that's what we're gonna cover for those two guys. Moving on to the divisional round. We had a lot of games. We had a lot of good games. We had a lot of stinkers. But we're gonna recap them, give them our takes. We're gonna have Myles lead them because he was locked into all the games. I was in and out.
I went 0 for 4 in my predictions of the spread, so I'll be better next week. But let's get into it. The Bills and the Broncos. First and foremost, my boomer take of the week. Pass interference should be a 15-yard penalty, just like it is in college. It should not be a spot foul. At the end of games, we see too many times a game completely shifted by whether it's an underthrown deep ball or contact that was a beat early, giving you 40 yards. Like, I think that's ridiculous. Make it a 15-yard penalty. But as for the game, Keon Coleman, Mr. Cookies himself, horrible. You see why he's getting healthy scratches during the year. I mean, people will say that his drop for that touchdown didn't count, but it actually did. That holding call would have had to be accepted had he caught that. You give the Bills a 3rd and long. Sure, it's a 3rd and long, but you got Josh Allen. You can get points on that drive. Keon Coleman, I don't even know what to say to him. I'm sure he's not safe in Buffalo. Get him out of here. But the real man we need to talk about, Joshua Allen.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness. I mean, you can't really draw up a worse game script. That fumble before half.
My bad. I'll contain. Sorry. Go.
That fumble before half is probably the single worst, like the most boneheaded decision I've ever seen a player make. You have 15 seconds and no timeouts on your own side of the field. I don't know what you're going to accomplish there. I don't know what he was thinking.
Now, I'll play devil's advocate. Would you look at McDermott and be like, why are you even running a play? Like, could you have knee it and just gone into half? In theory?
Sure. But I'm not going to pretend to know what went on behind the scenes, because he could have said maybe if you see something, throw it. If not, just get down or get out. I can assure you Sean McDermott did not say, Josh Allen, we die on this play. By any means, make a play. We need a touchdown now. I'm sure he didn't say that, and that's what Josh Allen acted as if the case was. Horrible play. However, he actually had some more horrible plays. Mm-hmm. He threw some bad picks, and I will say at the end of the day, the only reason that they had a chance was because Josh Allen did put them in position to win. He did miss a throw to Dawson Knox, which would have been a touchdown.
Don't forget Shakir.
We don't have overtime. Shakir, he was late on that screen, which also would have been a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So Josh Allen is a man not without his flaws, but he's doing it with Brandon Cooks. Brandon with an I, by the way. He spells it with an I. That's disgusting. But you got Brandon Cooks as your ex in 2026. I think that their roster management and construction has been horrible for years. But let's not jump away from the point. Josh Allen was bad. He was bad at football. He hurt the team. James Cook fumbled on a drive that they probably scored points on, and it still went to overtime. So I don't know what to even say. Josh Allen sold. I'll pass it to Lee.
0 for 7. That's going to mean something later. I'm going to start off by arguing in good faith. I think before I get into my nasty agendas, because I will argue in bad faith as a Ravens fan, to be fair, we're two peas in the same pods. We both have generational quarterbacks, and we both have shortcomings on self-inflicted and outside of their control. So that's a preference that I'll start off with. And it's a team sport, and the team played well enough to win the game. But I think this is the first time that Josh Allen really had multiple incidences where he let them down multiple times. A lot of times when we think about Bills playoff experiences, it's a lot of the team not really aiding Josh Allen and him putting on the superhero cape. And he may miss opportunities here or there, but more times than not, he's playing clean football. He's playing exceptional football, and the team just doesn't really show up in the moments that matter most. But this was the first time that this was, I'm not going to say 100% on him, but a lot of it's on him. When you look at the turnovers, when you look at the missed opportunities, even though he kept them in the game, and you don't have a game without Josh Allen, you still have the Shakir pass that would have been a touchdown if he had gotten the ball out on time and it was accurate. You still got the Dawson Knox pass that's a walk-in touchdown. You don't even go into OT, and then you still go into OT, and you still have a chance to get in the field goal range, kick the field goal, win the game. And obviously, miraculous play. This is a play that's kind of out of your hands. Josh Allen did deliver a good ball. Brandon Cooks just got the ball ripped from him. And that's the beauty of football. It takes all 11 guys on both sides of the ball at all times to make plays. And unfortunately, that was just kind of those wonky turnovers that happens. But when you give the ball away 5 times, you're not going to win a football game. I don't think volatile football will ever have long-term success, and they were just a victim of that.
I mean, this is where I got to give Josh Allen some credit. On every single drive that they did not turn the ball over, which was several.
Yeah.
They turned the ball over several times.
Mm-hmm.
They scored points on every single drive.
Fair point.
The last Bills pass rusher to get a sack was Jerry Hughes in 2021. The Bills have drafted 56 players since drafting Josh Allen. 2 of them have ever played in a Pro Bowl. It's Josh Allen and the power of friendship versus the world. Sure, he's selling. I can acknowledge he had a bad game. He did. But the reason you're here is because of Josh. The reason they've been competitive and won a playoff game in the last 6 years every year is because of Josh. And the only teams to ever win 6 playoff games, win a playoff game at least one every year for a 6-year stretch is the Bills as of late, the Chiefs from 2018 to last year, and the Cowboys in the 70s. The Cowboys and the Chiefs won 3 Super Bowls each in that time, and the Bills haven't made one. I don't think that's Josh Allen's fault, and I don't think it's Sean McDermott's fault. I think their roster has never been built to win. It's a shootout every time he's in the playoffs. You never see a good defensive performance by the Bills. It's always Josh Allen put on a cape and get us there. And he didn't do it. He didn't do it today. So you can knock him for that.
I think where people hate the whole narratives and PR thing, because one, I want to explain. There's a difference between fan PR and actual team PR and like analyst PR. Us as fans, we're going to defend our guys 10 times out of 10. We're going to be biased, and more times than not, we're going to put on like the rose-colored glasses. And it's hard to be objective as a fan because there's emotion into it, and that's how you should argue. Of course, you're not going to, just be super, super overcritical of your guys. You're going to defend your guys. I'm a Lamar fan, so I'm a victim of it, but I recognize his shortcomings as well. But I think the problem with Josh Allen PR specifically is that they like to give him almost every excuse you can in the book. Those are real stats, and I agree with those stats, but at the same time, it's like you have the number 1 pass defense. You have a top 2 rushing attack. You have the number 1 graded offensive line in terms of pass block and pro block overall. Like, the team played well enough, and they did good enough. That doesn't mean the roster construction wasn't built to be better than these teams in the playoffs. They simply weren't. But I think in the same grace that I give Josh Allen and Lamar is that it's kind of like a double-edged sword. I think the roster construction is so bad because the 2 quarterbacks mask a lot of the flaws that they have. Like in terms of like offensive line, they might not show up every week because the reason why you see all these crazy ass Lamar Jackson plays or these crazy Josh Allen plays more times than not when they have to break a sack or stiff arm a dude or move the pocket is because the O-line didn't do their job. If you see a clean pocket, you don't have to break a sack. You don't have to make a guy miss. With the pass catchers, it's kind of the same thing where you're making these ridiculous throws and buying all this time. More times than not, the receivers aren't winning the routes, but because they're buying 4 or 5 extra seconds of time, when you think about the Week 18 play with Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers beating Patrick Queen down the field, Lamar was dead to rights. Like 2 dudes on each side. He shouldn't get out of that. Everything is boxed. And the next thing you know, you get a touchdown out of it. That's because they're so great. So I think it's indicative of because of their greatness is why their roster construction is so bad. So I think the teams getting clean slate this offseason will really show how much they're willing to invest in these quarterbacks and really look themselves in the mirror to identify their flaws that truly needed. Like 2 sacks in however many playoff games that the Bills had is egregious work. Two turnovers and all of Lamar Jackson's playoff experience by defense is nasty work. Like turnovers have been through the roof this playoffs. We've seen it game in and game out. And the narratives behind Lamar is that you got to play perfect football. You turn the ball over. This is the reason why you're not winning games. And we see quarterbacks this whole playoffs having 4 or 5 turnover games, 3 turnover games, and they're walking out patty cake free like Drake May. Drake May's been playing good ball. I will say he's been playing good ball, but he's also, just throwing the ball up in the moon just for whatever reason, just because. And I just think us taking the team out of team sports is egregious work, but now it's time for my nasty agendas.
Oh, goodness.
It's going to get critical. He is a wild card merchant. I'm saying that with my chest right now. 6-1 in the wild card. Oh, my God, he's the greatest playoff performer of all time. He be doing some crazy work in the wild card. Record everywhere else is 2-6. Nasty work. He not getting by that. 4 turnovers alone. Strip sack. Meatball marinara. Oh, the left tackle got beat. I do not care. Hold on to the rock. That's what they tell me all the time. The interception. Meatball marinara. The fumble before half. Dunderhead play of the year. Josh Allen wins it. And the second interception, that was wacky. It was Looney Tunes for sure.
When you throw it to Brandon Cooks, not much good can happen.
Yeah, I can't really hate watch that one and arguing bad faith. But regardless, the multiple fumbles, you lose 2 out of 3 of them. It just was never meant to be. And obviously, I already spoke about the Khalil Shakur and the Dawson Knox. You just got to hit those. He had a similar play like that with the Eagles, if you remember, in that regular season game where they went for 2 and lost on the last play.
Yeah, he sailed it over Shakur.
And then the narrative was like, oh, they shouldn't have been in that position, or like, yeah, you got to hit it. But then they try to say all these things. If the play is supposed to be made and it's right there, you're MVP at that point. I'm going to hold you to the same standard that I hold Lamar, that I hold Mahomes, that I hold all these greats. They're going to put on gold jackets at the end of their careers when it's all said and done, regardless of if they win Super Bowls or not. So you got to hold them to standards that they have to be great, even if it's unfair, because their play is unfair 99% of the time. So your critique of them also has to be unfair. And then my final thing for my bad faith argument, Bo Nix outplayed him. You can't have that happen as an MVP caliber quarterback. That just simply can't happen. We got Coolidge, is his name, Bernard, out here throwing meatball marinaras and selling all of course. If you're getting paid the big bucks, you got to show up when it matters. Getting outplayed by Bo Nix is nasty work. And no one come back after me with, oh, Lamar this, Lamar that. I'm arguing in straight bad faith. I've had too much trauma. So just let me have this once.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing I'll say about the game is Bo Nix, that's one of the most shocking injuries I've ever seen. I thought it was
I'm gut-wrenched.
You turn the game off, you see the win, and then you check Twitter, and you see that Bo Nix is now out for the season. I thought it was a prank. I thought it was a fake account. I thought I got sent-held.
And it was on the rollout left, like QB draw play.
It was a questionable play call anyways.
It really was. And you lose yards. Like, you didn't even give yourself more advantage in that play. You lost yards. You still win the game. And it's a negative play. And now your franchise quarterback, your starting quarterback all year, doesn't even get to play in the biggest game of the season.
And now, the Patriots, they were talking about a cupcake schedule all year.
They're not beating those allegations.
It just got even easier.
Yeah.
The Seattle 49ers game, we could probably be brief. I mean, it's funny. They housed the opening kickoff. They didn't need to score for the rest of the game. They would have still won. That defense is something serious. They're just so well coached. They're so young. They're so fast. It's hard to run the ball against them. It's also very hard to pass the ball against them. The Niners just look like they didn't really belong on the field with those guys. They're too beat up. I think Shanahan, overachieved this year with all the injuries that they face. They must have the worst medical staff in the league. I don't know how they're so beat up every year, but I think this is Seattle's Super Bowl to lose.
Yeah.
I think they're going to handle the Rams, and I think they handle whoever. I think the NFC Championship is the real Super Bowl, and the actual Super Bowl is just going to be the Seahawks or the NFC Champ ring ceremony, because I don't think either of the AFC teams compete.
Yeah, no, I mean, as a Ravens fan, I'm forever tied for Mike Macdonald. Maybe 20 years down the line, he returns to bring me some happiness. But I think he's I think it was this guy I follow on TikTok. I think his name is Anthony Lawson. He called him the Shanahan killer. And when I look back at it, what his scheme does to Shanahan offenses, when we think about Kyle Shanahan, when we think about Mike Macdonald against like the Ravens and what the defense used to do, when we think about even like who else is Shanahan? Think about Mike LaFleur and the Packers. He just does something to that tree where it's like the scheme is just too much, and he has guys on that defense that executes at a high level every single play. So in terms of what I have to say about the game, I just think they got the staff, they got the guys. I think it's their Super Bowl to win. I think I think the game got out of hand early, and they coasted on from there. And as long as Sam Darnold keeps his head on right, I think they got it in the bag. I got them beating the Rams and then beating whoever. But that's later talks. But we can move on.
I mean, the Texans Patriots, there's really not too much to even talk about.
I don't have a word. I was at the circus for this game. Luckily, I was at the circus. I actually enjoyed it. If y'all want to hear about it, let me know.
They don't. But
okay.
I mean, Josh Allen really escaped one of the worst PR nightmares of all time in terms of quarterbacking over a weekend because of what Coleridge Bernard Stroud IV decided to put on my television.
It's not CJ no more.
We don't call him CJ. That man's name is Coleridge. I don't know. Man, you can go into that stadium, you can go into Gillette and spike the ball into the ground 3 times and punt it, and they probably win the game. They probably win.
The defense had
That's one of the best defenses I've ever seen, and we saw it firsthand. But I don't even understand what you do in the locker room. I thought you should have benched him at half. I know the repercussions. That's
egregious. Is it?
I don't care.
It's
Davis Mills is the reason that they even stayed afloat when Stroud was out with the concussions. He's a very serviceable football player.
But it's politics when it comes to that. At that point, like, you're not gonna bench him. If he physically can play, he's gonna play.
By kickoff, you knew that Bo Nix was out. You know that this game sends you to the AFC Championship, of course, and you're playing Jared Stidham. I think if you're DeMeco Ryans, You tell C.J. Stroud again. You're not extending him this offseason. You're going to give him his 5th-year option.
Yeah.
He's going to have to prove it.
Yeah.
I think that's even more fuel to the fire for him at that point. I understand the politics. I understand it's easier said than done. And this is a very rare and niche incident where I think you should have benched him. C.J. Stroud looked scared out there. He looked like he got a guy off Twitter under center.
His regression from year 1 to year 3 is it needs to be talked about.
We had
year 4.
We're
in year 4, right?
I think we're in year 4.
We're entering year 4.
Yeah, year 4 will be next year. C.J. Stroud didn't belong on that field. And the thing is, the Patriots only scored 7 points off of turnovers that game. I mean, the defense was dealt a horrible hand, and they were still hooping. The Woody Marks fumble didn't help at all. And that's medical tent man. But C.J. Stroud played the worst game in an NFL playoff game I think I've ever seen, and single-handedly lost his team the game. You got to take the sack at some point. You got to take the sack. You got to throw it away. Live to see another down. You have no business trying to be the hero when their defense is that good. Oh my goodness. C.J. Stroud. Sorry. Coleridge Bernard. I don't know how you extend him. I don't know what the offseason looks like for the Texans. That was a Super Bowl caliber defense led by, I don't even know what you call Coleridge after that, but that was pathetic.
I saw the stat on Twitter talking about like EPA per dropback, because EPA is an elite stat to go by when you're referencing efficiency and quarterback play specifically. I think in terms of playoff performances, I think it was bottom 5 of all time since they've been tracking the stat. You won't guess who number 1 was, though.
Who?
Happened this year.
Is this an Aaron Rodgers
stat? Yes.
Okay.
That was a joke. But regardless, terrible performance. If you're the front office for the Texans, you got guys on that defense and genuine guys who can take you places. And with your quarterback play being that egregious, again, I didn't watch a snap, but it was clear as day.
You didn't miss much, man.
That even in the Steelers game, that there is a hindrance, and you can't blame it solely on him.
Yes, you can. No, you absolutely
can. But you can. That was the point
you should, and I will.
And it's not like their offensive coordinating was bad. It's not like they don't have. It's not like they don't have the caliber. Again, the offensive line isn't the greatest, but like you shouldn't need the greatest at every single thing to be able to go out and win a championship. You're going to be lacking somewhere, and I think
it's even more extreme than that. Like, just if you throw the ball into the dirt, if you throw the ball into the cheap seats, you win the game. You can be horrible. You can be very bad. You just can't give the ball to the other team. And he threw a pick 6. And he threw so many horrible picks. One was off the hands of the receiver, I will say. He didn't belong on the field that day. Yeah. And it was pathetic.
I mean, not much more to say about that. We want to move on to
the Rams and Bears. Going into it, we thought it was going to be game of the week, and I think it lived up to the hype. Caleb Williams.
That fourth quarter.
I'm ready to start a narrative that it was hashtag not his fault. And I'm going to tell you why in a second.
You can tell us.
Caleb Williams is the epitome of those professors in high school telling you that stuff's not going to fly in college. And then you get to college and that stuff's flying in college. Caleb Williams, it's just like he plays the game like he's still at Oklahoma or he's still at USC. He's at his best when he's running around, extending plays, making difficult throws, and he puts it on a rope. I think he has one of the strongest arms I've ever seen. His physical tools are elite. He's fast. He has good contact balance. I think he's one of the better scramblers in the league. And after Lamar's, the way he's looking this year, I think Caleb Williams might be the best scrambler in the league.
Don't get egregious.
Yeah, man. Hashtag not his fault. But let's hear what you have to say.
I mean, I agree with a lot of that. I think there's always a reason why you're going to draft potential in this league. I think you always have to draft for the highest ceiling you possibly can. There's going to be busts. There's going to be a guy like Anthony Richardson who just doesn't pan out the first time. There's going to be guys that you just miss on. But you're going to hit on those guys who just have intangibles, that just do the insanity of sanity. There's a reason why the top 3 quarterbacks in this league are physically above tiers of everyone else. There's a reason why guys like Kyler or a guy like I can't even think off the top of my head, or a guy like Bo Nix even, they can play great ball. They can do you a service, but there's something that takes it to the next level. And I think Caleb Williams embodies that. In terms of like the actual game, I think Matthew Stafford was a little bit lackluster. To say the least. I felt like the run game for the Rams was working really well in their favor, and the play calling was there, but I felt like there was a few missed throws. There were some great throws. You're always going to get great throws from Matthew Stafford. You're going to get some timely throws that in overtime, that's throw to Devontae Adams on the sideline.
Insanity.
That's a one-on-one throw right there. But overall, I think throughout the course of the game, I think he didn't diminish their play in general, but that defense showed up. He said in the post-game interview that defense played some really good ball, especially against a Ben Johnson offense. I think they played as well as you could have asked them to.
But same thing with the Bears, man. Dennis Allen called the game of his life.
He did.
That was Jaquan Brisker. I don't know if he's paid yet, but he's made himself some money. That
Kevin
was
Byard, wasn't Kevin Byard All Pro this year?
I believe so. And
he earned it.
Get paid.
No,
I know he's due for a contract. He's probably gonna get some money. I mean, if you're the Bears, I guess if you're the Rams, you hold the Bears to 10 points at half. And some people will argue, the fourth downs. I don't think that it's necessarily Ben Johnson made the wrong decision. I thought the play calling was bad. You need to put the ball in Caleb Williams' hands more. And that interception on 4th and 2 was not his fault.
I don't really care about the interception. Interceptions are so luck variance and volatile anyways. And I do support the decision of if you're that far into the red zone in games that you got to have it, I don't think you just take the points. I think the possibility of scoring as much as you can in games like these is going to come down to it. And the fact that even if you don't get it, even if he gets an interception, takes it a few yards back, they're on the 20-yard line?
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, hindsight's 20/20. We didn't know that the Bears defense was going to step up like that. You're playing the Rams. You gotta score 30 to beat those guys. So I don't necessarily hate the decision. I thought that their running play calling on short yardage just wasn't very effective.
Yeah, I think they had only 3 conversions out of the 9 or whatever it was.
I think you should have put the ball in Caleb's hands there more.
Yeah.
Even a designed rollout. We know that the Ravens love to call those.
Mm-hmm.
And just let him make a play with his feet.
I literally had in my notes that I thought they waited too long for him to use his legs. It was literally that fourth quarter where the gotta have it moments where he started scrambling, getting out of pocket, getting out of structure. Caleb Williams out of structure. Oh my God.
I think he's top 5 out of structure, and then he must be bottom 5 in a
clean
good pocket.
Our friend Lily texted before he had threw that interception with a very clean pocket, mind you, in that overtime interception. He was because he had made the throw for the touchdown, mind you, that play, chef's kiss. At the end of the day, I like the no call on it. I like the guts. You just got to buy time. He made it work. But back to the point, the clean pocket, the accuracy does need to improve this offseason if you're Caleb Williams. I think Ben Johnson can also do a little bit better job of scheming up a little bit easier route concepts in those type of situations. But he's got to clean it up. I'm not a QB coach. I'm not going to act like I'm a QB coach. But I do have eyes, and I think the accuracy is a little bit of an issue when he's just has to do a drop back and let it rip. But when you get him out of the pocket, when you get him having to move the pocket, what he can do on the run is second to none.
He's so physically gifted, and he's living up to the hype, and I think he's got an MVP in his future.
Yeah.
You look at that 4th down play. That's one of the craziest plays I've ever seen in my life. And to pair that back-to-back weeks, 2 4th down, your season literally ends if you don't get it.
Yeah.
And he gets it. He's like Dame time, man. He
Literally.
threw the equivalent of a half-court, tween step back, turn around, fadeaway jumper.
Mink.
And cashed it when you needed it most. So, what a throw, what a play. I don't think that there's more than 3 people alive making that throw.
Question. Would you? I had said it in the group chat. I die on this hill. I think you go for the win. Would you have gone for 2 points?
I was shocked that he didn't. And, maybe my bias is showing because I did have the Bears at plus 2.5. So, overtime was my worst fear. But, I was surprised that they didn't. But given your inability to run the ball on short yardage, and credit to DeAndre Swift on that hurdle attempt. He really tried to put the city on his back. So,
yeah.
I do have a lot of respect for the attempt. But, you couldn't run it in short yardage, and if they know you're passing, I don't know if I like your chances.
Yeah. I think the drive before where obviously they scored, it was that 4th and goal, and he went to, I think it was to Loveland on that double slant concept. I think it was DJ Moore and then Loveland, and they batted the ball down to stop him on downs. Yeah. I think that had a lot of influence on it. I still would have gone for 2. I think when you have the ball in your hands and you control your destiny, I think you take advantage of it. I think playing into the hands of playing into overtime or playing with house money at that point. I think if the ball is in your hands, you take advantage of it. I would have gone for 2 because at the end of the day, if you're going to lose regardless, I want to lose with the ball in my hands. I don't want to have to put my defense out there to go win a game for me. That's my
overtime was fascinating. The Rams come out, they get the ball, they run it 3 times, and they punt it. You're the Bears, you're thinking it was a great punt, by the way. Their special teams stepped up today because the Rams special teams was questionable throughout the season.
I thought I felt like the momentum shifted when that first bad punt where it was at the 50-yard line that let them score. I thought as soon as they scored, I literally texted. I was like, "Yo, Rams special teams will be the bane of their existence because it's been like that all season. I just felt like the Bears had it in the bag after that point. But the punt in OT, elite. Obviously, the kick to win the game, also elite.
The Bears get the ball in OT. Caleb's walking them down. Perfect pocket. I can agree with the argument, like maybe he shouldn't have thrown it. Obviously, the consensus is out. It's DJ Moore should have ran it a flatter route, and it seemed like he gave up and didn't expect the ball. If you're Caleb there, you have a running lane. You need a field goal to win it. It is, just inherently a slightly risky throw, but a throw that I'm sure, he makes in his sleep, and he's confident that if DJ Moore flattens out that route, you win the game. But I don't know if DJ Moore's a Bear next year, honestly. If you trade him post June 1st, it's a $4 million cap hit for the rest of his contract. I think it's going to be 3 more years. You save $12 million against the cap. I don't know who their owners are or if they're, a cash poor team or not, but I couldn't really see DJ Moore being a Bear next year. It's just too many mouths to feed now.
I agree on the breakdown of the play. I think there has been multiple times in his career where there's been a lack of effort, and that's not a slight on him him as a playmaker. He was their best guy in go-to situations when it mattered the most throughout the season. He showed up big time. He is their premier one catcher, but you do have to, I think, run a better route. I think you have to run it out. And I believe that the concussion played more of a factor than people are making it out to seem. He had that concussion, and I think with the season on the line, I think they obviously, I'm not going to say they broke any rules or anything, but he probably, if I know for a fact that if this wasn't your last game of the year, he probably would have sat out with a concussion.
The Titans, yeah.
And obviously I'm being counterintuitive with that point of like, it's the game, the season's on the line, you have to play your best. But I'm not making excuses for the guy, but that's just something to think about when we talk about these things. I don't know if I agree with him not being a Bear. Like when you look at their pass catcher situation, they got talent across the field, but I think he also is a good marriage with that pass catching group as well. But even if you let him walk, it's not the worst pass catching group in the world. You got Colston Loveland, you got Cole Kmet. If he stays, you got Luther Burden, who's a great addition.
Dog.
Zacchaeus, I mean, he's serviceable. Obviously, yeah, he's serviceable. So it's not the end of the world, but I think he comes back. But I do think it is something you need to look at in the mirror in the offseason in terms of seriousness and effort level from that fact.
I think an overarching theme of this playoffs has obviously been the defense, but in terms of roster construction, you got to get off bad players. I mean, Russell Wilson got traded by the Seahawks and obviously released by the Broncos, and they're the 2 first seeds this year. Sometimes you got to just eat the money. Getting off your mistakes sooner will benefit you in the long run as opposed to just rocking out with Russell Wilson. I feel like the Steelers' philosophy has kind of been ride the ship, like give players second chances. Mike Tomlin, I'm not going to get into the whole, big rant, but at least the punters, he's gotten some of the worst punters in the league. Corliss Waitman should be working at Costco, and Presley Harvin, oh my goodness, like I don't even know, I have no words for it. And you keep them and you give them extra years and you keep trying it, where as the successful teams, when they make a mistake, they get off of it. Mm-hmm. And you evolve and you change. Mm-hmm. And that's how you get the first seed and you're a Super Bowl contender.
I agree in the sense. I think the Ravens and Steelers are kind of two sides of the same coin almost in that regards. I think John Harbaugh really did have a grasp on what he wanted with this roster throughout his tenure. I think who he employed at certain positions, the justification on why they're there, and really trying these experiments and having too much hubris and too much pride, and just admitting the fact that these aren't the guys that are going to get you to over the hump. And I think it even confirms it even more because even with his contract stipulations with the Giants, he only reports to the owner. He has a lot of control on who's coming in as his staff and his roster. So I think that was kind of the downfall for Ravens. And I think that's why at least I'm excited for the Ravens, where it's like you get a clean slate and you get to, really expose what your flaws were and improve on that. And I think teams with like bad ownership or bad GMs who don't like to face their flaws in the mirror, it comes back to bite them. So I think what Myles said to the point of, moving off bad guys and just biting the bullet, it's better for the long run success every single time. And you got teams like the Pats, like the Seahawks, like the Broncos, who can be bad for a couple years, but they can realize their mistakes, move off them, and now they're competing again. Now they're contending for championships and Super Bowls. And I think that's why I kind of agree. This is going to be moving on into our next subject, which is coaching destinations. That's why I agree with the Bills moving on from McDermott. It's not to say that he was the entirety of fault. I think he was a good coach. That's not to say that he was the problem. That's not to say that
he wasn't.
He wasn't. I think sometimes things just need to change. Whatever dynamic and whatever you have going on in your locker rooms and your front offices aren't merging well with each other. You got hard pills to swallow. Are you going to move off of your generational QB, or are you going to replace him with a coach?
Agree to disagree. I think, the Bills have been the epitome of success in terms of, being a competitive Super Bowl caliber team for however many years, pretty much since Josh Allen became Josh Allen.
I think they have the best record since 2020. They have the biggest point differential since 2020. They have the number one scoring offense. They have a top 5 defense in terms of total stats and all that. At a certain point, when are you fine with not running it back anymore?
I think, the knee-jerk reactions of you lose a big game or, something that the ball doesn't bounce your way can lead you to make rash decisions where, they were competitive in the game. Josh Allen had a bad day. I don't think that Sean McDermott, I think this is, if you were ever going to fire Sean McDermott, it shouldn't have been this year. He coached a great second half of the season. He coached a great playoff game against the Jaguars. The Bills were very competitive in this game, despite all their flaws and all their turnovers, and still should have won. I mean, I don't blame Sean McDermott at all. I think Super Bowls take luck to win, and sometimes you're Mahomes and the coin bounces your way in the 13 seconds or whatever, and sometimes you're Josh Allen and maybe you're just cursed, maybe you're unlucky. I don't think that bringing a new coach in necessarily fixes anything.
I'm not on the fence that it was. I don't think it was McDermott's fault, but I think. And maybe I'm thinking of it as like the Ravens perspective, where it's like you got narratives of like when John Harbaugh's release is like, how could you let a guy like this go? It's been, but in reality, it was 13 years since he's won his last Super Bowl. Before Lamar Jackson came into the building, you missed the playoffs 3 straight times. You've gone backwards from 2023 until now. Something's not working, right? There's a clear, evident way, whether it's the coaching, whether it's the coordinators, whether it's the front office, whether it's the players. Something's not working, and when it's a crapshoot, you gotta put out one of the variables. The variables are players, coaching, and front office and staff, right? And when you exclude one of the variables, you won't know until you know.
Again, I fundamentally disagree. I think that ring culture has kind of made us judge a team's success by wins and losses in terms of Super Bowls. And Mahomes got however many, and Brady got 7. Like, we got to do that. It's hard to win rings, and I think it's more important to build a consistently competitive roster and give yourself as many chances to win a ring as possible, because there's going to be a team that rolls in and gets a Mickey Mouse ring, perhaps, maybe this year.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not necessarily, kudos to them. It's more so the Bills with Sean McDermott. If you were to go into next season, you're probably again thinking like, okay, they're poised to make a run. And just because, the narrative that this run was quote unquote easier than ones in the past because of the quarterbacks that aren't in the playoffs, I don't think necessarily makes this season a failure. I think Josh Allen played a bad game. It can be hard to play a stretch of elite games when you're shouldering so much of the load, and I don't think that this season was a failure at all for the Bills.
I think I disagree, but I don't harp on the fact of like failure and not failure, but like when you have Super Bowl aspirations, when you have talent in the building like this, it's not going to stay forever. I think you got to capitalize when you have it. I think when you have a guy like Mahomes, when you have a guy like Allen, when you have a guy like Lamar, when you have this top tier elite talent in the building, guys like Caleb Williams and guy like Jay McDaniels, the younger guys who have rookie contracts, you got to maximize. And I think just running it back with the same guys and having the same expectations, and you fall short X amount of times, I think something has to change. I'm not saying it's just the coach. I'm not saying it's just the player, but you gotta renew the formula and try it again. That's not to say that you can't point fingers and blame. That's not to say that you can't analyze and look at whether it's just bad luck if the ball just doesn't bounce your way. But you have to redo the formula. You have to tweak it, and you have to try it again. But using the same formula and getting the same result, whether it's the AFC Championship, whether it's missing the playoffs, whether it was an injury-riddled season, you got to change the formula. But I think leading into that, I think I'm ready, if you're ready, to start predicting where coaches go. Since this is our first episode, there's going to be 10 new head coaches at the start of next year, which is mind-boggling to say the least. 3 of them are already filled. We got John Harbaugh to the Giants. We got Kevin Stefanski to the Falcons. And we just, a couple hours ago, we got Jeff Hafley to the Miami Dolphins. I guess we can just give our thoughts on those 3 first, and then we can predict the rest of them. So starting with John Harbaugh, that's been the longest decision.
5 years, $100 million.
5 years, $100 million. That contract's kind of nasty. And I think my take on it is that you got one of the best coaches in the cycle, but depending on who he brings into the building will make or break what the Giants are able to do within his tenure. He's not an X's and O's guy. He's a staff builder and he's a CEO. He doesn't do special teams anymore. So you're really reliant on who the coordinators are in the building. Assuming that Todd Monken doesn't get a head coaching job, he will be your OC. Giants fans, I think you should be happy.
I think he already is.
Is he? Does he have a contract signed?
Wait, I might be mistaken.
Yeah, I think he's still interviewing. But regardless, more likely than not, he's not going to be one of the head coaches that land. So he's going to be your OC. You should be happy. He's produced 2 top offenses in the last 2 years. He brings really good run game. He brings heavy personnel. Your DC, however, could get a little shoddy. Anthony Weaver is starting to get a little finalist job interviews here and there. He could potentially be a head coach somewhere. So then the question becomes, who's John Harbaugh going to bring as DC? Maybe Zach Orr. You might want to hurt yourself. It will get nasty. But regardless, be happy that you signed John. But it could get shakier than what everyone is saying it to be.
Yeah, I mean, ironically enough, I feel like Brian Dable would have been the perfect OC for this team, but obviously that can't happen.
Nope.
I mean, I think it's a good hire. I think that they needed a culture change and to kind of reinvent themselves. They got a lot of young guys on that team, so I think Harbaugh's definitely a good fit there, and it seemed like the kind of obvious, like on the nose choice.
Yeah, no, can't really go wrong. So the next one, Kevin Stefanski to the Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, I'm betting these guys wish they would have waited a week or two with this Bills opening, but yeah, I think all things considered, I mean, you got Bijan, you got Kyle Pitts, you got Drake London. He's gonna have to choose between Kirk Cousins, which I believe he was his OC in Minnesota. I mean, or maybe his QB's coach. But I mean, you got guys there that should result in some success, and I think that they'll be better this year than they were last.
I mean, I agree. I think I predicted him going there. I think the fit works. I think Matt Ryan loves who he saw in Stefanski as a candidate. They work closely with each other. I think it's a good marriage. And I think with the NFC South being so open that it is, I think you can easily win that division next year. It's easier said than done. The Falcons seem to screw it up a lot of times. But I think with the end tenure of Todd Bowles coming soon, I think with the Panthers, not being the most reliable team to run it back, they had a losing record and they won the division. I think this is your new chapter of your Falcons. So I think Stefanski's the one that should lead it.
Agreed.
Dolphins, Jeff Hafley. I saw that he was a front runner a couple days ago that broke on Twitter. I'm not really familiar with Jeff Hafley. Obviously, he was the DC for the Packers. When Micah was there, they were being a defense for sure. Obviously, that's a Micah effect to an extent. And they lost some of that pass rush ability and pressure when he was there. But I think he's garnered pretty good defenses over the past few years. I think the Dolphins' vision was probably defense. We need to hit. We need to have guys flying. We need to be able to stop teams, especially if they're facing the Pats and the Bills every two times a year. Something need to change. I think they're going to move off of Tua. Malik Willis is probably a surefire to be the Dolphins quarterback next year, especially with Hafley going there. As an outsider fan, I don't really see much to be excited about, but change is good. So
yeah, I mean, especially given the season you've had and that this Tua saga is more than likely coming to an end, I feel like this hire just kind of screams like midway through his third season he gets canned because they're still bad.
Yeah, we were saying that earlier.
Yeah, they just don't have a lot that I see to make them competitive, and obviously you're in one of the better divisions in football, so. But change is good, like you said. I do agree.
Yeah. So now we're predicting where the finalists for everyone else will land. So we'll start with the Browns. My prediction was Grant Udinski, the OC from the Jags. I think if you're the Browns, having stability is probably the biggest thing, especially with the the history of QB carousels, with the history of coaching carousels, with the history of just never winning the division, you need something that can be not a surefire, but just take a chance. I think Udinski, what he did with that offense paired with Liam Cohen this past year was something to be impressed about. People have been raving about this guy all as soon as the coaching cycle started. I think he lands there, and I think he's able, whatever QB he gets, whether it's Shador, whether it's Gabriel.
It won't be Gabriel.
Probably not Gabriel. Whoever is the QB there, I think he's able to not turn things around, but just make something better than what it's been.
Yeah, I mean, I think I feel like in the Browns' best interest, they should probably get like a Saleh, but I do see them going young like offensive mind, like you said, with Udinski or maybe a McDonald or I believe they interviewed Nate Shieldhouse, who I really want to be my offensive coordinator, but I think the Browns go in that direction.
Yeah. All right. So we both obviously Udinski. You said Saleh might be in the mix as well. Our next prediction will be the Ravens. Or actually, we'll save our teams for we'll save our teams for last. We'll go Titans next. I said Matt Nagy or Arthur Smith. I think whoever doesn't get a job somewhere will go to another team, which will probably be the Cardinals. And I think Matt Nagy is now in a position where he kind of has to take a role somewhere, especially with the news that just dropped today that Airbnb is signing with the Chiefs to be the OC again, which is good for the Chiefs. But I think with Matt Nagy, you're not under contract now. So I think instead of he's waiting for some opportunity to arise, I think he kind of has to choose an opportunity. And I think he either lands with the Cardinals or the Titans. But it could be Arthur Smith.
I think Arthur Smith is a Titan, and I think that Nagy will be a Cardinal. Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty much as simple as that. But,
yeah. And then Raiders, I got Clint Kubiak going there. I really want Clint Kubiak to be the Ravens, but in the ideal world of it all,
thank you.
In the ideal world of it all, I just see what the offense weapons that they have in Las Vegas. I think it's just a match made in heaven. For Clint Kubiak. I think if he's able to replicate what he's done with the Seahawks with the Raiders, you go get Mendoza in your first round. In the second round, you go get a wide receiver in this draft. You got Genty, you got Brock Bowers. You can run your heavy sets. You can develop Mendoza. I think it's a match made in heaven. So my prediction for the Raiders is Clint Kubiak.
Yeah, I feel like the Raiders are a year away from being like 9-8. So the trenches are obviously they need some milk, man. The O-line's pretty bad, and I'm not sure if you can name 3 receivers on that team right now. It's pretty grim what they got going on, but you do have young talent. Brock Bowers, I might be older than Brock Bowers. Ashton Genty's obviously a dog, and you're gonna get. Someone looked it up for me.
What year were you born?
2002.
Damn.
All right, man. But
I'm trolling.
But I think you give Fernando Mendoza an offensive mind, and he's a very coachable guy. I think his floor is so high. So I think that the Raiders is definitely an attractive job in that sense, and I do see them being better next year.
So it just happened. Do we even have any predictions for the Bills? I think I have 2, but I'll let you go first.
I mean, I saw Theo Ash saying Brian Flores. That's kind of my worst nightmare. I want him to be a Steeler or Chris Shula, but I mean, Dable almost seems a little too.
We're both older than him.
How old is Brock Bowers?
23, but we both have birthdays before him.
That's kind of depressing, man.
God, man, I think we're at that turning point now when we see all these young athletes. We especially in the NBA. Oh my God, there's so many dudes that are just hooping now. Man. That are, damn man.
Okay, but
we just bums on the couch, bro.
Regardless, the Bills opening is definitely an attractive job in the sense you have Josh Allen, and sometimes you don't need that much more. So I know Brian Dable might be a bit on the nose. I guess my honest prediction, I think they promote Joe Brady, and then they outsource DC and OC. And probably, I don't know who their current DC is, but maybe he gets the boot too. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. My prediction would be internal hire with Joe Brady. If Joe Brady doesn't take a job anywhere, I don't see him leaving the building, especially if they have an opportunity just to bring him up. If he takes a job somewhere else and they have a head coaching hire that needs to be made, I think they probably – it sounds like maybe possibility that they bring back Brian Dable. I don't think that's the direction they should go, but I think it probably would happen. I think it's one of those two.
Where does McDermott go, I guess?
I think McDermott low key might sit out a year.
Wow.
I think he could potentially sit out a year. I think he could go into media. I think he could just take a break, honestly. It's been stressful in Buffalo for the last 8 or 9 years, however long it's been. Especially with the cycle already kind of jump starting with all these interviews and stuff, and he's kind of late to the party. I think he ends up probably just taking off a year, and then him and Mike Tomlin return next year to whatever openings are available, and they'll be the prime candidates.
We'll be taking those draft picks. I'm excited.
But we can finally jump into the Steelers and Ravens.
I mean, we kind of did that at the top. I think it's the Ravens is probably Minter, and then Steelers is probably Schuler or Flores.
Yeah, I think I really got to see who are the final 5 candidates. I'm really hoping Lamar does take up on Steve Bashai's offer, takes the jet up and gets involved in those interviews, just to say his piece and get a feel for it. I after this weekend, like I said, I'm all in on offense. I think in terms of playoff football, I think you said it. You said a great offense is always going to beat a great defense, no matter how good it is. And if we got
this year is kind of the inverse of that, but
the
overarching theme of the NFL as
you got to make plays when the ball is in your hands. You got a top 3 quarterback in the league, and you want to pair him best with someone who can marry the vision of what you have. Having a guy like Sean McVay, having a guy like Ben Johnson in your corner. To be able to call the plays when you need them most on the 4th and criticals, on the 3rd and criticals, I think is something that you have to take advantage of. So a Clint Kubiak, a Mike McDaniel is something that I pray for, but I would be happy with Jesse Minter. The Michigan to Ravens pipeline, the Michigan to I guess the Ravens pipeline is inevitable. And I think what he did with the Chargers defense this year is promising because our defense has been plagued by Zach Orr, and refresher is something that is duly needed. I just question with Minter who he brings in as OC. I don't know his connections in terms of offensive schemes and offensive coordinators, who you would call for if he were to get the job. That's my only concern with Minter, but it has nothing to do with him as a candidate or him as the defensive lead for the Ravens. And then you said who for the Steelers?
It's Flores or Shula. I'm very confident.
And you're fine living with that.
Leaning Shula, but flip a coin. It doesn't matter to me.
All right. I think we'll move on to championship predictions. NFC, AFC. NFC, we got the Seahawks and we got the Rams going into Seattle, and then we got the Patriots going into Denver. I think we'll do AFC first.
I mean, I think there's no need to reinvent the wheel. I think that I'm not betting on Jarrett Stidham to do anything in life. He hasn't thrown a pass in 3 years, an NFL pass in a regular season game of consequence in 3 years. I'll listen to you about the defense and how they can establish the run. I'm going to take Drake May to go into Denver and beat Jarrett Stidham. I think that's all I really have on it. It's not going to reinvent the wheel here.
I got Broncos.
Get out of your mind.
It has nothing to do with Stidham.
Put your money on it.
I think I will. I did. I put money on the Broncos this weekend.
Yeah, donation.
This past weekend.
This next weekend will be a donation.
Oh, but they hit this weekend. Regardless, I believe in the defense. I think Drake May, even though he's playing good football, he's also playing careless football. He's giving the ball
Texans
away.
Defense are one of the best of all time.
He did it against the Chargers.
Fair.
Exactly. So I think he's playing good football, but I think he's prone to give the ball up, and I think the Broncos pass rush can get home. They can cause disruption, and I think if Jarrett Stidham plays clean football, and that's been that's been a big ask for every quarterback apparently in this playoff run for some reason. No one plays clean football anymore. But I think if Jarrett Stidham can be 90, if he can be 20% better than Coolidge Bernard, I think the Broncos can get it done.
I think that's in bad faith to make that Coolidge Bernard's performance a barometer for any sort of quarterback performance. That shouldn't happen. That should never happen. It should be
enough, though. It should be. I think it's enough.
I don't think you're hearing what you're saying. You're saying if Jarrett Stidham can, or if Jarrett Stidham. It's Jarrett Stidham, man.
All of it's if. We don't know anything that's going to happen.
No, I'm just saying point blank period. We're looking at Jarrett Stidham. He has to go to regular season pass in 3 years.
Yes.
I don't care how long he's been in the system.
I'm going to go on record. I got the Broncos. Would I be surprised if they lose? Of course not.
I would be very surprised if the Patriots lost. I'd be shocked if they lost.
You're gonna be shocked. We're shocked. We are shocking the world.
On to the next game, please. That's ridiculous. Bad take. Don't.
We'll lock in picks in the next episode, but for now, I don't know the spreads. Patriots, I don't know anything.
At whatever spread they put it at, take it. Adjust it. Raise it.
Don't do it.
Increase
We'll move on. Real game, real players, real teams, real coaches in the NFC. No disrespect to Mike Vrabel. I like him a lot. And Sean Payton, but. Seahawks, Rams in Seattle. Who you got?
I mean, playing in Seattle in general, I think you see the decibels all the time, and sometimes it's kind of gimmicky when teams do that. That's no joke. That's one of the loudest stadiums in the league.
Bro, that kickoff was like 128. Like, they was
booming.
There
was an earthquake
They
going
was
on
booming over there.
I mean, they're the most complete team in football, especially the most complete team left when it comes to offense, defense, special teams. You don't really have to say much about Sam Darnold because they don't ask him to do much. I mean, they run the ball so well. Charbonnet down is huge and worth noting.
Do we know the backup of Kenneth Walker at this point?
Couldn't tell you.
I'm gonna look it up. You keep going.
But I mean, in short, I think that they're gonna dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides, which they've done all season. I think Sam Darnold's not gonna have to make too many big time throws, and I think that we saw in the Bears game with their limited personnel that they were able to get pressure on Matt Stafford, and the blitz was getting there. I think that the Seahawks will be able to get pressure on Matt Stafford, and Pook is gonna do what he does, but I think that the Rams are going to lose this game by multiple scores.
So I'm on the Seahawks page right now because ESPN didn't have another running back. It was Charbonnet was out, and then they had 2 running backs on IR. So I'm on their page right now officially.
A.J. Barner, put him in the backfield.
The 2 running backs they have is Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet on their official website, and we know Charbonnet's done. So that is to concern if you have to run Kenneth Walker out there. They must have a practice squad guy that they're probably going to elevate. Or maybe they run their fullback. They got a guy named Robbie Oots at fullback. Or maybe they do JSN packages in the backfield. But regardless, I still got the Seahawks. I am Mike McDonald's biggest supporter outside of like anything Ravens football. I loved him when he was on the team. I've loved him since he's been off the team. If he could go get a ring, that would make me smile. I would cry also as well because again he was in our building. But
Velus Jones is on IR?
Yeah.
Wow.
But regardless, I got the Seahawks. I think the Rams are gonna have a tough time with that defense, and I think he's played good, but I think where Stafford has been lackluster has been kind of like inconsistent with his pass game and what the Rams have been able to do. I think the Seahawks will be able to take advantage of that. Again, not having the 1-2 punch with the Seahawks is kind of critical. So it'll be interesting what they do there. But I got Seahawks. I got their money line. I'm full faith believer that if they win or if the Rams win, they'll win the Super Bowl. Whoever team comes out of that. But my faith and my pick is in the Seahawks.
Yeah, and I guess to wrap things up, I mean we got the national championship starting actually literally right now. I got Indiana.
Not kick off yet.
Not just yet. I got Indiana, and I don't really have like you just watch them play. They're dominant pretty much every position, and I think that's all I got to say.
That game's happening like real soon. If you got rent, if you want to double it, put it on Miami.
No, like triple it. Don't do that.
Not even spread. I'm saying take Miami.
You're out of your mind.
I'm not trolling. I think we'll wrap it up here for our first episode.
Thank you for tuning in to the Steel Birds and Dogs podcast.
God, that felt a little. Try it again.
Thank you for tuning in to the Steel Birds and Dogs podcast.
I appreciate y'all listening for the first episode and see you guys real soon.